Venus's square to Pluto demands honesty, raw, unfiltered realness. On May 27th, we have a contentious square between Venus and Aries, sassy, sparkly, independent, and Pluto in Capricorn, who, yeah, gets a little obsessed, gets a little attached quite easily. So, this tension could certainly show up in any number of our relationships. It could be in a romantic relationship, it could be in a workplace where someone has high expectations and thinks you're more invested in the workspace than you actually are. This is basically like the tension between craving independence and also craving intimacy and closeness. So this can even happen within ourselves, right? Where many of us, depending on what our birth charts look like, may crave a sense of closeness and intimacy with someone, but we just have trouble getting there. So that can even be something that is accentuated under this transit. So this could go a couple of different ways. Number one, there could be just one person wants to go this way, the other person wants to go this way. And so, yeah, Venus in Aries is very independent, does not want to be told what to do, does not want to have expectations, that's limiting, that's constricting. It feels like controlling and all of that. So, speaking of that, like feeling controlled, like Venus feeling infringed on by Pluto, that's something we are experiencing collectively right now as the right wing attempts to gut our sovereignty as women, or gut our sovereignty as trans youth, or gut our sovereignty as someone with a uterus. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, as I've been saying. So this aspect is definitely going to highlight that contention in the collective here in the United States over Pluto control and Venus bodily autonomy. Because considering, the leak came out the day that Venus entered Aries. And that was really telling from a mundane astrological standpoint, considering that Venus on a mundane chart really represents women's issues or sexuality matters. And entering the sign of Aries, the sign of her detriment, that was just very, very telling and kind of a foreshadowing of what Jupiter in Aries will ultimately be about. So this is a conversation that's far from over, despite the turn of events of this week or next week, because there's quite a few gateways, I think, this week where I think it could unfortunately overturn. Hopefully not, hopefully not. You always want to hold out hope, but it's not, it's looking concerning is what I'll say. But yeah, so back to interpersonal relationships, yeah, there might be just like this feeling of, in this relationship dynamic, whether it's professional or whether it's romantic or even platonic, am I being true to myself? Am I able to stay true to myself in this dynamic? And so Venus in Aries is really going to highlight that for us. How do I stay autonomous? How do I stay true to myself? Or maybe we need to face that feeling of feeling limited in a relationship, where I think a lot of us feel that way, especially people with a lot of air placements who want to be free, or fire placements like Venus and Aries. It's like just being in a committed thing with another individual or a company, it makes them feel like their wings are clipped on some level. So maybe there's some sort of reconciliation there. Another layer, because like being in a relationship, it doesn't always mean that someone wants to control you, right? It can just sometimes feel that way. So Venus's square to Pluto might bring that up. Themes of control versus independence. Themes of expectation and psychic connection versus being able to be a free bird, so to speak. Another way that this can show up is, Venus in Aries is bold, is courageous, is forthcoming, is genuine. There's something about the desire to remove superficial or saccharine ways of connecting or ways of relating with this aspect. Venus in Aries just says, we got to rip the Band-Aid off. We got to be completely real about who we are, what our desires are. And also, Venus in Aries is not afraid to be a little undone or a little rough around the edges. There's something really forthcoming and honest and unfiltered about this placement. But you know what? Messiness, realness, it's hot. It makes someone feel more relatable. Like once someone shows that side of themselves, like you love them more most of the time. And I think a lot of us in this like really polished sort of social media culture, a lot of us shy away from that. A lot of us shy away from our messy side, our raw side, our real side. And so, yeah, I think that Venus and Aries square to Pluto can really accentuate that and encourage us to show more of that, show more of who we are without being so done up and polished. So that's another way that that can show up for us. And I bet, I'm putting money on it, that it'll show up financially too. There's, yeah, the financial hellscape that a lot of us live in, especially those of us in the younger generations, like Pluto Scorpio, Pluto in Sag, even like, yeah, maybe there's going to be something there that we can maybe look forward to in maybe not the best kind of way, but more on that when Venus enters Taurus. But for now, this was your Venus square Pluto astrology shot of the day. Bye. Thanks so much for tuning in with me today. For more astrology in your world, you can connect with me on all platforms at Astro Catherine. You can also visit my website, get on my mailing list, because I'm about to launch an all levels monthly chart synthesis group. So get on the mailing list to stay up to date on that, as well as my foundations course, which is relaunching this fall.